Haley off the beaten trail, Edward here on Walnut Street. Back in the day when I lived down here, we were kids. Homes built on both sides of the street instead of the hospital right here. We're going to go up the, what was, at the time, the only street coming into the emergency room. There were homes right here to the left. And then it became the hospital once you got past this little turn here, Circle Drive. This was all new back in the 80s. It was a straight shot back up in here too, because the ambulances would come back flying in here. We would sit back behind us on the corner and on our bicycles and watch the ambulances all come in right down here. This is where they would line up. And the end of the building was right there. And right in here was the main entrance. None of this existed. This is where I was taken into this emergency room when I was a boy with a broken ankle. And sat right inside there. Sat right inside there with a broken ankle with a whole bunch of hippies from Western Michigan University. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. Okay, as we make our way out of here, this was an old school back in the day where this structure is built, this parking structure. It was an elementary school about 3 stories tall, 4 stories tall, serviced this whole neighborhood. Then they started building on the hospital. They built on this whole new part right here. We're going around that Circle Drive. This came from the emergency room, the old emergency room. I'll tell you about the hippies in a minute. Here's the flight center right here. You can see all the instrumentation on the roof. And then of course, right over here is the hangar, the helicopter, and the Hinman Skyrise right behind there. I mentioned this was all our neighborhood back in the day. We'll be right back. This is Bronson's North Campus, the old hospital I call it, and they've re-bricked it, redone the whole thing. There's this chimney we seen smoking from the car barn right back. It was a car barn, all right, up on that parking structure right up there. I was standing making that video a little while ago. This is also their cardiac part of the hospital now. You can see Central City down there. We'll talk about those hippies. It was 1968. There was a big protest going on at Western Michigan University here in town, and a lot of the hippies in the protests got their feet cut. A lot of broken glass on the ground. And so they were lining the hallways in there, sitting on the floors. There was no place for them to sit. There were so many of them. When I was brought in with my broken ankle, they put me on a gurney and took me down to the end of the hallway. And there were a lot of hippies, all sitting around on the floors with bloody towels wrapped around their feet, waiting to get in and seeing the doctor, get their feet sutured up from all the cuts. And somebody says, well, what, 10 hippies? There were more like 50 or 60. And I am not exaggerating. Both sides of the halls, all the way down and up, to the left and the right, nothing but hippies sitting on the floor side to side. There was a guy with a mop walking along with a mop pail on wheels, mopping the blood up off the floor from the bloody hippie's feet. Yep, 1968-ish that happened. I had my broken ankle set and a cast applied and spent that whole summer in a cast. Little story there for you, true story, of that emergency room. Down here on South Road Street, West Lovell, heading back home. Y'all have a great day. Off the beaten trail with Edward.